was about 26 at the time, which they say is the average age for people converting to Islam. So why I converted, I had been born into a quite secular Protestant family in the south of England, of Scots, Irish and English descent, and was growing up in 1980s UK, Margaret Thatcher as the Prime Minister, and generally a drive in the society towards materialism, self-centeredness, selfishness, grabbing money, and it was a very materialistic society. Because of growing up in a secular environment, that meant that Christianity for us was just a kind of culture. We had some values, and we scholars, your body, the private parts of your body are being put out there for anybody to assess and scrutinize and judge. And I'm hearing that it's even worse now for generations coming up after me. I felt it coming on in the 1980s, 1990s. And I hear it's just got worse in terms of the psychological and mental pressure that is put upon girls. Another thing in Western society is that the position of the father has been totally denigrated, not considered of any value, of any importance, and now 1 in 3 children are growing up in fatherless families, and it's considered to be no big deal, whereas it is a big deal. We have young people who are deeply psychologically damaged from parental breakup, from the loss of contact with the father. They don't even know what a father is. This is affecting how boys, what they think about masculinity, and it's creating a mess. It's creating an absolute mess, and we're wondering why our youth are, suffering from depression and confusion. Islam is a sanctuary. It's a sanctuary. It's a place of sanity. It is a place of sacred brotherhood, sacred sisterhood, mutual respect. It is about justice, justice in business, justice in family relations, justice towards children, justice towards parents, respect for the elderly. Again, elderly are not particularly respected in our societies anymore, whereas if you go to a Muslim country, you'll still see a young person getting up for someone older, getting out of their seat to give it up for someone who's older than them. And spirituality. We live in a society where public expressions of spirituality are frowned upon. France is notorious for that. You're not allowed to express the spiritual component of your being. You have to suppress it in the name of a peaceful society. You have to basically cut out and deny a fundamental component to what you are as a human being in order to have a functioning society. And it's no coincidence that, again, French society is well known for depression, anxiety, neurosis. For me, we are fundamentally spiritual beings, and this should be at the heart of our society, not economics, not fashion, not entertainment, not just your day-to-day living, but actually the heart of the human being, the spiritual component of the human being, the soul of the human being, should be the foundation of everything. And that foundation, the soul within ourselves, connects to that which is beyond the material world, to the spiritual levels of existence that ultimately culminate in the transcendent entity that is beyond all description, which is God, Allah, the deity, as a translation of. So what I found with Islam is that whereas before I had been thinking from time to time about spirituality, and it had been kind of on the periphery of my life, or kind of in various different corners of my life, Islam puts the spiritual component, the divine, at the very center of your life, and then everything else radiates out from that. Or we could say, it's like pyramidal construction with Allah at the top, deity at the top, and everything else comes in a hierarchy beneath that, and it makes sense. Allah is the ultimate reality. All other realities are lesser realities, and we are going to go back to return to that reality. Regarding life after death, which is a fundamental belief in Islam, there are so many anecdotes, so many accounts of how people have had encounters with those who passed over into the next world, over to the other side. So many, even from people who don't believe, even from people who are atheists, they have encountered people who have passed over to the other side. And I've heard this from people from all different backgrounds, including atheists. There is some kind of existence beyond this life. I've heard disembodied conversations talking in my ear about particular situations or particular people, and I have made investigations, and I have found out that these conversations that I heard related to specific events. We are interacting on a spiritual level all the time, sometimes without even knowing it. So overall, the worldview of Islam fitted with how I felt anyway. I've always struggled with secular culture. I continue to struggle with it because for me it doesn't make sense. Obviously, those who don't believe in God will say that religion doesn't make sense and that the concept of God is illogical. Whereas I find that considering an existence, just this material existence, as the ultimate and only existence, for me, is just not logical. And to have to live according to that belief just seems absurd to me. I can't live an absurd life. We were given this life, it's a precious gift, and we have to do what we can with it, the best, while we're here. I just want to say that it's given me peace. I have no regrets. It may not have been easy after converting, because number one, you automatically exclude yourself from a lot of job opportunities. If you're wearing a scarf or if you're a convert, there's a lot of job opportunities automatically denied you. And of course, friends, they may be concerned, or they feel that you're not who you are anymore, and they drop you. Same with certain family members. They will distance themselves from you, and you have to weigh up your priorities. If people are going to drop you, distance themselves from you, alienate you, because of the fact that you can't abide by the fake culture in which you've been brought up. If they're going to drop you because of that, then unfortunately they're not really worth it as people to know, very sadly. And so you continue on with your journey, and a path opens up. Allah gives you a family, a spiritual family, and there's so much in the world that needs to be done. So many people out there without families themselves, so many orphans, and a path has been opened up for me. I'm very grateful. I have thankfully been teaching, lecturing, presenting. I've been so busy since I converted, and there's so much that needs to be done. Justice needs to be fought for, campaigned for, because there's so much injustice in the world. Ultimately, also, we need to work together, everyone, on different spiritual paths. When I did come into Islam, interestingly, a whole other world opened up, which was the world of people who have their own path, who have their own religion as well. And there have been beautiful opportunities for some good conversations, even with an uncle of mine who I'm grateful to God for having given me the opportunity of having a meaningful conversation with a great uncle who I'd never really met as a child, and met him at a funeral and had a conversation with him, found out that he was a Christian, practicing Christian, and we had a good conversation about what's happened to our society, where is meaning, where is value, and after that he passed away, so I'm glad that we were able to have that conversation. So this is it. I'm continuing